right, so it's been a minute since I've recorded anything since I've been home. But if you have a keen eye, we are currently in a new place, which is cool. So Miley's in here, and then this side, wagon chilling right there. So new spot, a bit more space. Yeah, super exciting. The goal is still to have a shop to put all of my cars in one spot, but for the time being, Miley has a nice little home. I kind of have my own little like shop set over here. Finally getting some of my banners up on the wall. I have hundreds of show posters, of banners. Like down here I got all of these, just like post banner after banner. Actually that's a super old one of Miley, but yeah, I've got so much stuff just like everywhere. It's kind of cool to have a little spot to actually start putting some up a little bit. Like I said, long term I do want a shop big enough for all the cars, but can't complain. This spot is pretty sick, and we have the garage over there, so that's super cool. Couple updates from the last Helen video coming home. Miley's been washed, she's been chilling. The BBS is still up there in the corner. Car still drives fine, everything is good aside from what I showed you. The rear of the side skirt got broken, which is this crack right here. Not sure, I probably can glue it together and fix it, but other than that, and then the inner bolt in here coming out, like, she's chilling. Now I can show over here, this is the adapter. You can see the center got kind of mangled and snapped off, and this one's actually I think in the back of the car, but yeah, all 5 bolts just straight snap. I still don't quite know what had happened, but sometimes things just happen and it kind of is what it is. I really don't know, but it happened. So I need a new adapter, and then that should pretty much be it. This is the wheel over here. You can see like nothing happened. The inside, if I can poke this carefully, you can see where the rotor hit the barrel. But other than that, like, it's virtually untouched. And the fact that like the wheel fell off the car and I was still able to drive, because what happened is I think the studs broke, the car dropped down, but the rotor landed on the barrel. So the rotor and the wheel still like rolled together, which like just kind of worked out perfectly. And again, I was doing maybe 20 miles an hour when it happened, already pulling off the road. So it all kind of worked out as best that it could in like a worst case scenario because my wheel fell off the car, but like it still worked out as best as it did. So that's cool, that's on there. I can't actually put a full set of the BBS in the car, because if you remember, I have 4 adapters because those are 5x120. The issue was my 2 small ones, the 15mm adapters, the bolts that actually hold the adapter to the hub were too long, so I couldn't actually use them. So I need new adapters for these wheels, plus they're so sunk in the car, like it's so far back. Honestly, I think I need like a 40mm adapter for the front and like a 45 or a 50 for the rear because of the Mark II rear beam, and those wheels just don't fit quite right in this car yet. But I think the plan for today is actually, because I don't like having these on and that one in the front looks kind of awkward, I think up there on the top, which is this set right here, I think today we're gonna toss the good old Zaubers back on Miley. The OG, my first ever set of 3-piece wheels. I think these, I mean, they've been packed up for such a long time. I think today we'll toss those back in the car, and then once I get another adapter, these can go back in the car. I do love the 17s. 17s just fit a Mark III super nice. And on this car with the big side skirts and the big front lip, I can aero the car. It sits virtually fender to lip, and everything's like flat to the ground. On 16s, because the inch lower, the car sits a bit further down, so it's kind of hard to air out sometimes because the front lip kind of hits the ground and crushes up. But for the most part, I mean, I ran the Zaubers for so long. It's not the biggest deal. I just love how 17s fit in a Mark III. But I think it's time the good old Zaubers go back on Miley. And then underneath those, we have the BBS RCs are down there. I have to pick up my Porsche Cayenne wheels still. These are the other 3 BBSs in there. What I want to do is like the little like wall hanging racks where I can put my wheels up on the wall, because all this is concrete. So I should be able to do a handful of like the L bracket little like wheel like racks they do, and do like a set here, a set there, and try and get them up off the ground and out of the way, because I still have to get my other 2 engines from the other house. So those are big carts, and then a few of the things, but for the most part, I have enough room to kind of work and walk around the entire car. Toolbox up here, and again, look at this poster. All these are like all those super cool posters I got from, I think Marvin gave me these. Those are out of the Volkswagen dealership, but just super cool artwork, and like finally got some of these up on the wall, which is cool. But yeah, this is the little spot. And again, update on Miley. Car still runs great. Still starting it with the flathead. I haven't actually fixed the cylinder just yet. Like, we got home from Helen, and like the next day we started moving. So like no time off. Just drove the car over here, parked it, and then I washed it once, and it's been chilling. Like I said, the car runs fine. Everything seems to be good right now. I do want to get into the car and double check like the engine mounts, maybe just check everything on that side, because for some reason just that side had issues with, I don't know if it was a vibration that I couldn't feel or just something was off. In the grand scheme of things, it's an old car. Things happen. We did a lot of driving. I think it was like 1,300 miles in total. End of the day, made it home for the most part like unscathed, and the rest of the wheels like have no issue. So I don't know what the issue was with that one adapter, but sometimes it just happens. But yeah, so wagon's there. This is here. Mark II is still at Derek's house, which will probably stay there for the time being until I have like a bigger spot. But I'm excited to have some like kind of shop space. And then out here, what I want to do is like one of those like mesh kind of like shade nettings to go from like this corner to like a post kind of out there in the yard to kind of put some shade and cover up the wagon, and then we're good. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the car jacked up. The OZs are coming off. We'll toss the Zaubers back on, and then yeah, just a little kind of update video. We're actually doing some more moving tomorrow, but I kind of want to show the new spot and what's been going on. Also quickly, I didn't talk about it much, but this car did phenomenal on the way up to Helen and back. Zero issues, rode out, comfy cruising, AC on. Larry was chilling the entire time. This thing did amazing. Great car. I mean, both great cars, but this one threw a bit of a fit when it came time to leave Helen. But the wagon, I mean, the wagon did like, good car. I have to note this as well. This front lip has been through so much, and the fact that it's intact still is mind-blowing. The first issue I had with this lip on the Nürburgring, I was doing like 110, 120, slid the back end out, went into the dirt, and I smacked this corner into like rocks and gravel at like 120 miles an hour. Fine. Little crack here, but like fine. Didn't explode, good to go. Then on the way home from Helen, the rain like sucked my lip off. I ran this thing over, dragged it down I-10 for probably, I don't know, 100 feet, and she's chilling. Now, it did crack right here a little bit. You see that? A little crack right there, a little crack right here, and on this side we lost some teeth up there, but like for the most part, like it's good. There are some scratches down here, but we can go through. You can see over here we're kind of dragged. But go through, a little sanding, make it smooth again, retrim painted, mint. Rieger, great stuff. Like, this thing is a tank. Absolute tank of a lip. So yeah, Rieger, good stuff. Something I still appreciate so much. Watch this, ready? Smooth concrete floor. It's a small thing, but like, so nice to have. All right, so passenger wheels off. I think maybe I found what possibly happened to the other side. This adapter, completely fine, no issues to report, but looking at the hub, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, where the bolts going through the wheel and then into the adapter here were actually touching the hub. So my theory, possibly, that even though, I mean, the rest had no issues, but it may have just been that one slightly off, whatever. But I'm torquing, as I torque the wheels down, and it's like to the proper spec, but it's hitting this, and that may have created like a little bit of a gap or room for a slight vibration. Again, I felt nothing in the steering wheel, but if this was happening on the far side, and then it's just a little bit of room after driving and driving and driving, it could have wiggled itself loose and we got what we got. That could be not the right theory, but seeing this means these were definitely touching there, and normally they shouldn't touch through the adapter. So for next time when I run these wheels, I'll just have these ones slightly shorter. That way there's plenty of thread into the adapter holding the wheel on safely, but we're not actually hitting this, creating maybe a little bit of room where this can wiggle or something can go wrong. So I could be wrong, but that's the only thing I see on here that can lead me to some sort of explanation. I don't think I over torqued the lugs. I mean, all these ones are like brand new, and they were all the same spec, not anything tighter or anything crazy. So I don't think that was the issue. Could have been, but I don't think so. I think more of having something to do with this, where these are just slightly too long, and it could have created a little bit of a gap between the wheel and the adapter, allowing this to move a little bit, and then over time, it just got all the way. It's still so weird. Like I explained it before, but like I'm driving, we're going slow because it's raining. We're doing like maybe like 40 miles an hour because it's raining so hard. I start feeling a vibration in the steering wheel. I slow down to like 20 miles an hour. It gets crazy bad, and I'm pulling over, and then it snapped. But like, it doesn't make sense to me. This is the only thing I can see, the only thing I can like visually see, so maybe that's the cause. I'll do shorter bolts next time, and hopefully no more issues. Haven't seen the Zaubers out in a minute, but they're still looking spicy as usual. So a couple of the wheels we have here, the HREs are on the Savoy. My Super Advent SA3s are still in Germany, but this is the collection as of right now. Spicy units. These are 17.7.5, these are 17.8, these are 16.9, which actually, with this being a 195/40 versus the two 185/35s, the actual overall height of the wheel is almost the same, but you can see these are just much wider. Like I said, spicy units. This is actually the rear wheel. I need to find the fronts, which are probably this one and that one. But yeah, that was a cool little shot. Spicy units. So went ahead and pulled the side skirt off. You can see the damage there, but should be fixable. A little bit of glue, maybe some epoxy. Let it sit, repaint it. That should be good to go. So that's cool. That's the only damage I got is just that. So stoked on that. And then up here where the fender, you can see there's usually a bolt down here that holds this section to the rocker. But looking in there, it actually pulled the entire bolt and like the fitting inside of here that it screws into complete out. But thinking about it now, honestly, best case scenario, because if that would have held, this wouldn't have been able to move like this with the wheel, and probably would have buckled this or dent this. Like, it's crazy that the wheel fell off the car dropped onto the wheel, and literally nothing happened. Again, best case scenario, because this was probably like out here, but it allowed the entire thing to flex this way and not destroy the fender. Not that Mark III fenders are impossible to find, but like, you know, I had to paint another one, whatever. All I need to do, new little stud in there, put that back, bolt it down, mint. I did, however, go through and bolt check again, just to be sure. This side and the far side are both still tight, so again, I don't know what happened. Miley threw a fit leading Helen. I guess it is what it is. But for the wheel falling off the car, really we did pretty good. I definitely do miss seeing the Zaubers on this car. This is like the OG look. Back when the car was still brown, I had finished building these wheels. Like, this was like the first like real like look of Miley with the 3-piece wheels and the brown, and yeah, it came out super good. I love seeing the white face with the blue, the nice big old lips. I love the face mount of these and how it sits so far forward, but like the big old lips, great look as well. And then also on the driver's side, I have mended my fenders. So all lined back up, nice and tight. Basically what I did, since it ripped out the entire like insert that the bottom bolt normally would thread into, all that was gone. And instead of trying to put a new insert in there, I could have done a rivsert, but the metal there is like a square and it just wouldn't quite work right. So honestly, just threaded some new holes, put some new bolts in, and now mint. So thankfully, wheel falling off, barely any damage, and now very easy fix. So this wheel can go on, and then I'll go to the back and she's good. back on all four corners. I forgot how aggressive these are. So when I built these wheels, when I first got them, they're 16.7, 16.8, ET38. So the plan was to run an 18 mil adapter, make them 16x9s. I think when I rebuilt them, they might be wider than 9s. This is a 195/40 on a 9, but I think it's more like a 9.5, 10. And the offset is super, super low, which is why originally I put the Mark II rear beam. They give me 12 more millimeters in because they were just way too wide. Even now, they're still a little bit more than I would like, but it works. But they are a bit aggressive. Now when you air out, it sits down nice where it's supposed to be, but like a little bit aggressive. Especially going from the face-mounted like zero lip OZs to like all the lip Zaubers. It's just a different look. Also, Paul from E-Wheelworks made me these lips because when I had these wheels, no other, I want to say 32 hole lip would fit these. I tried BBS, I tried OZ, I tried Smith, I tried all the lips. No other, I think it was 32 hole lip, fit the Zauber face. So he made me these custom lips. They are 2 in the front and 2.5 in the rear, if I remember correctly. And he has this like cool little like flat step up on it. So very unique look. Very unique look. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out real fast, air it out, make sure everything's still good, and then yeah, Fender's fixed, Zaubers back on. I'll probably fix this maybe tomorrow or Sunday, get some epoxy and glue that back together, and then once we go through and trim paint again all the front lip, you'll never know. You'll never know. So the cold starts in this garage are spicy. Now it's only like 9 or so right now, so it's not like actual like quiet hours, but like, oh, it's gonna be loud. It's loud. Thankfully, my neighbors are super cool. The guy next to me does car stuff and like furniture. The guy next to him also owns a shop and does car stuff, so I'm definitely not the loudest one on the block, but you want to make sure you're not annoying your neighbors. Like a VR6 sound, you know? Everyone likes that. So Miley's kind of back to her OG kind of look. The only thing I remember now is why I always wanted to go to 17s. If you look at the front of this car, it has a lot more to go down. The issue is it's not a frame notch. The tie rods on both sides are actually hitting the frame. So there's a tie rod flip kit I think you have to do that rotates the tie rod the other way around to mount and drops it down like another like inch or so. That when you air out the car on smaller wheels, on a Mark III, it can go down further. But right now, this is as far down as we can go because the tie rods are hitting the frame, which is why I like bigger wheels. 17s on a Mark III, this car sits fender to lip, no other modification needed. And also on a Mark IV, 19s, the car sits perfect with like minimal modification. So if you want to be low on smaller wheels, there's more things to do in the front of the cars. I mean, the rears just drop, no problem, but there's more work to do. Which on this car, I love these wheels, but I've just grown so fond of having 17s in the car. I think the signals go back to this car. I think those wheels would just be for this car. I really wanted to do the paint match faces for the Pink Floyd, which would look so good. But like just those wheels on this car, like they just go hand in hand. I do still have my Super Advent SA3s, also 3 spokes that Dimitri will have here soon. And they're currently 16.7, 16.8. I think I want to build them into like 17.8.5, 17.9, and either have them for maybe this car again or also for the Pink Floyd. Gotta figure that out. I'm not quite sure just yet, but the HREs are on the Savoy. That's good to go. Gotta figure out wheels for the Pink Floyd, and then we're fine. But I mean, we can just keep swapping wheels around. It's not really the end of the world. I just can't air out super far in the front when I'm on 16s unless I do the tire flip kit. Or I guess you could notch the frame in 2 more spots for like a tie rod notch, but they sell a whole flip kit to actually do the flip thing. Other than that, yeah, update on Miley. All the bolts in the front of the car, double checked again today. Everything was still tight, so that's good to go. I think my issue with these adapters were the bolts were too long and they're touching the hub, creating a vibration I couldn't quite feel, but it was definitely doing something in the front of the car. Why the other 3 had no problem, I don't know, but it is what it is. The Zaubers do look good. I do miss them on this car. I just wish the front went a bit lower. But at the same time, I'm to the ground. So like that's the other problem with 16s, like the front lip, I'm on flat ground. Can't go any lower, but I got all this gap. I mean, it's not really like a lot of gap, but I like my car. If it's on air, I wanted to sit like right here. And so like, even if I do the tie rod flip kit and it drops down further, I'm gonna crush the lip and the side skirts. So like, I like bigger wheels in these cars. 17s for Mark 3s, 19s for Mark 4s. Just so if you have like a big lip kit on the car, side skirts, you can drop the car all the way down to the wheels and not crush your bumper, your lip, your side skirts, whatever the case may be. Not that 16 look good. Actually with 16s, most times people run like an NA front lip and no side skirts, like OEM skirts. But with these big rear ones, the car kind of needs 17s. But the bit of a wider look, they do look good. Look at this. I'm flat to the ground. So like, there's limitations in 16s. But for the time being, it's a nice little refreshing look for Miley. You know, part of me is really tempted to rebuild these wheels with just smaller lips. I can do like 1.5 inches in the front and 2 in the rear and take a 1/2 inch off both, and that would pretty much get them to sit where I wanted to. But then there's still 16s. Actually, what I could do, hit up Paul and do step up lips. So go 16 faces up to 17-inch wheels, and that could be pretty spicy. They do make 17-inch Zaubers. These are 16-inch Zaubers, the backstory of these wheels. They made a very, very, very small amount of actual 16-inch Zaubers for whatever reason. This is one of the sets, and I think I have one of the only like custom size sets I've seen, and it's been years since I've had these. But they do make 17-inch ones that are way more available, but the 16-inch ones are just very hard to find. But we could do a 16-inch face up to a 17-inch wheel, and that would keep the Zaubers, but give me a bigger wheel. 16 to 17, do smaller lips front and rear so they're not quite so wide. They sit a bit more flush to the car. That could be, I mean, I have no money, but like, that's ideally what I would do. But for the most part, they look good. Anyways, done talking. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Do not forget, be thankful for every single day. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.